Weekday night, 6 to 9 on News Talk STL.
I think you're a little confused.
News, analysis, opinion.
I've got something to say and I can't hold it any longer.
101.9 and 94.1.
You won't hear the truth anywhere but here. News Talk STL.
News Talk STL. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
The more you remove voting from Election Day, the more opportunity you're offering for people to commit fraud.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
I think the Democrats are so short-sighted in this tactic they have now to just cheat at any cost to win elections.
Nobody stands up. These people are crazy. I'm telling you, they're crazy.
What are we doing wrong here?
As a former leader in the House, I think you can put your finger on it. It's called leadership. We don't have it.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps.
A judge just blocked a lawsuit seeking to stop this weekend's UFC fight at the White House.
The judge basically saying that this lawsuit wasn't even closed, that the 2 Virginia residents who filed the lawsuit could not establish standing. They basically claimed they were harmed by the aesthetics of this, massive construction at the White House. They failed to show how they would be irreparably harmed by this. The fact is, as soon as this event is over on Sunday, the actual site itself will be deconstructed.
And welcome to the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. There's a little fun fact for you as we head into a weekend. The show will go on in the UFC White House Octagon. Welcome to the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show, 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL. Chris, it looks like despite the left's every efforts, they just can't stop Donald J. Trump when it comes to him putting on a show.
A bunch of sourpusses. I mean, this is celebrating America's 250th birthday. June 14th is President's Day. It's also the president's birthday. This is a one-day event. Come on, liberals, lighten up some.
I was wondering about the standing issue when I originally heard the first news report that 2 Virginia residents had filed suit against this. I was like, that doesn't make any sense. They couldn't find an angry liberal anywhere in the District of Columbia. I thought it was odd that they chose a couple of Virginia residents because that was my first reaction. I was like, how does this suit even have standing? You're supposed to be, standing means you have a right to sue. And I'm like, how does a couple of Virginia residents have a beef against what happens on the grounds of the White House?
I agree with you. Look, Washington, D.C. is about 90% black. It's overwhelmingly Democratic. I'm surprised that they couldn't find a couple of black Democrats to put their names on this suit to try to stop this endeavor that's happening Sunday. I talked about it last week that one of the reasons they were going to use is that the loudspeakers, Tim, would disrupt the solemnity at the Veterans Memorial. So they had a United States veteran, World War II veteran, and Vietnam veteran. They were supposed to have sued. That may have been the people from Virginia that sued. But, I mean, this just shows the liberals just don't know how to have fun. Look, all of the differences that you have with President Trump, that's fine. We get it. It's politics. But when it comes to America's birthday, the president's birthday, a one-day event that people are looking excited to, why do you want to rain on it?
I don't know. I don't know why you want to rain on that parade. And Chris, what are they going to complain about? That's a rhetorical question. I was going to say, what are they going to complain about after this UFC fight show is over on Sunday? They take everything down. They put everything away. The White House grounds look beautiful as always. They'll find something to bitch about next. Chris, speaking of the military and fine military gentlemen, I was waving to Commander Connors as he was heading out for the afternoon. Larry Connors, of course, follows us every evening from 6 to 8 p.m.
The man, the myth, the legend. I heard the promo for tonight, the story behind the story. It's about Miranda rights. I'm sure you are familiar with that,
Yes.
Trump, Tim, as an attorney. And I had no idea that this case happened in 1966, which is a very good year because that's the year that I was born. But those who don't know what the Miranda rights case, it was Ernesto Miranda.
It was actually a real guy.
It was a real guy, and it was determined after his case made it up to the Supreme Court that you have to be read a series of rights after you were arrested. And being a '70s kid And at that time, there were a lot of police shows on television
Yes,
at that time.
Yes, there were.
I've got it almost memorized, I think.
I had an awesome, and we'll get to the show, folks, in a second. It's Friday. Let us have a little fun day here. We got a lot of awesome guests. Stand by. I had an awesome criminal procedure professor in law school, and I still remember him. His name was Professor Palestino. He was a little Italian guy. Reminded me a lot of my grandfather, actually. I have a feeling Frank Palestino, I think was his name. I have a feeling he's passed on because he was old back then. He was fascinating. And, man, that guy, he knew criminal procedure from memory. And I can hear his voice to this day telling the class, anytime you have a traffic stop.
Oh, he had the accent, too.
Oh, he had a little bit. He had the New York.
Oh, okay.
He sounded like he was from The Godfather. He had a very New Yorkish. Anytime you have the traffic stop or you have a stop in a high crime area and you have a reasonable suspicion of criminal activity afoot. I mean, I could probably recite half his lecture. This was a long time ago. But he taught us, the Miranda case and Miranda rights and there's all different levels, reasonable suspicion, probable cause. And I did very well in that class. I think it was because I liked him so much.
Yeah, probably.
And I wanted to be a litigator. I didn't know what I was going to do exactly. I ended up in a prosecuting attorney's office. And Frank Palestino was one of my favorite professors. And so, yes, we learned quite a bit about Ernesto Miranda and the case famously named or infamously named after him back in the day.
And I think that's one case that they got right. Most people, when they are under arrest, they don't know the law. They don't know what rights they have. A lot of people talk during their arrest, and a lot of times that information can be used in your trial. So I think that ended up being good protections for Americans.
It's one of the longest lines of precedent that has lasted pretty much untouched. Cases come up about it every once in a while. The other thing I always remember, the other phrase always pops in my head. There was a famous jurist, and I believe he was a New York Court of Appeals judge, which is the highest court in New York. But he was famous all across the land for his decisions, and he had one of the coolest names ever. His name was literally Learned Hand. You ever hear that?
I have not.
His name was Learned Hand, and I never looked into where did that come from?
Exactly.
The name Hand. How is that a last name? And
I have a friend of mine who has the last
name Hand.
Yeah, Ken Hand.
Not
Lives in
named
New
Learned
York.
though.
He's from New York.
Yeah, see, maybe the Hand family are famous New Yorkers. But was that a joke that his parents played on him and making him Learned Hand, or what was the deal there? Maybe that's an old family name, but that was one of the things that we talked about because Learned Hand was the author of a lot of famous court decisions.
Yeah. Those who were big the Waltons family fans will remember that the matriarch of that show, her name was Michael Learned.
So there you go. Yeah.
Maybe it's a last name that they used as a first name.
Yeah, very possible. Old name. Old name indeed. Great show coming up this afternoon featuring Dr. Bob Onder. Lots going on up in Capitol Hill these days. The House rejected a last-ditch FISA extension. I think the first time, Chris, that's happened since 9/11.
Yeah, no, it's always been extended.
So we're going to ask Bob, why did the House reject that? What's the backup plan? Is there one? How about Reconciliation 2.0, which was accomplished? And will there be a 3.0? And what might that include? And during questioning during an education workforce hearing, Bob confronted various public school superintendents. I bet that was fireworks. We'll have to ask
sound from that.
Yeah, we'll have to get some clips from that as well. Chris's Corner coming up at 4:45 today.
Yeah, I had it here right on my thing. I'm going to talk about the hearings on Act Blue and the Southern Poverty Law Center were held on the Hill this week, and some real surprising things came out of that from these two organizations. They pled the fifth. And, that doesn't mean you're guilty, but it sure doesn't look good when you're asked very simple questions and you plead the fifth.
I'm interested in hearing more about that from you. I saw a few clips on that, but I'm interested to hear your narrative on that at 4:45. Speaker's stump speech was inspired by two separate things today, kind of involving the same thing. Chris, I heard a news clip earlier today about the state of affairs of living in the United Kingdom. It was a shocking statistic. It was not a good statistic. And they were comparing it to the standard of living in the U.S. And I was shocked at how what's the word for it? Non-prosperous. Unprosperous the UK is these days compared to the US.
Yeah.
And then I saw a story of, all this World Cup stuff. Saw a story about what a Scotsman on the Scottish national, they call it football, soccer team, what he said about the United States of America. Found a story about the United States of America. So we're going to talk about why the United States of America, despite all its warts, problems, and issues that it always fights through, is still the best place on the planet.
A lot of people compare the United States to Britain because, of course, we broke away from them in a revolution in 1776. We speak almost a common language. Some of them accents, I can't even understand them. But, in Great Britain, they basically have a caste system. If you are born in the lower ranks of society, you usually don't raise up from that. And they have a big gap between rich and poor. So a lot of times I tell people when they talk about moving to Britain because things are so bad over here, I'm like, you got a lot more opportunities over here. If people are entrepreneurs, they probably came from the higher class of people there. You don't see people from the lower class moving up. Let me put it this way. There's not as much upward mobility in Great Britain as it is here in the United States.
Indeed.
And a lot of people don't know that.
Indeed. And so, when people say mainly liberals, it's mainly liberals. I mean, every once in a while when we have a crazy Democrat in the White House like Joe Biden, people are like, oh, my goodness, we're going to get out of here. It's mainly liberals during Republican administrations who say, I'm leaving. I'm never coming back. And
See ya.
We're kind of like, bye. Thank you very much. We'll have the extra space and less complaining. And I always want to say, where are you going to go?
Yeah.
Where are you going to go you think's better? My cousin, who is she works for the federal government. She has for a long time, and she's a center right person, but she's not like her job is to work. She works in Homeland Security, so her job is to work for the government, and so she's not an overly political person. She was stationed for a while in the UK and took her family over there, and was at first really excited. Yeah, it's a great opportunity, get some upward mobility with the federal government. Should be fun, right? After 3 years, she said she could not wait to get back home. She says, it's a great place to visit. It's fun to be there. Living in a foreign country that is not the United States of America is not all what the Hollywood elite think it's cracked up to be.
Yeah, me and Becky spent a week over there in Great Britain last week. It was a great place to visit. We got lucky because it was sunshine the entire week that we're there. Usually it's cloudy in Great Britain, but I was happy to get back here to America.
Indeed. So, Dr. Bob Onder and Chris's Corner in this hour. Speaker Stump Speech 507. Mitch Baden going to be in studio with us today, Chris, from Royal Banks.
Yeah, a lot of news regarding the economy, of course. Kevin Warsh, he is the new Fed chair. There is talk that when the next Fed meeting comes about, that interest rates will remain the same. But with the inflation numbers that we received earlier this week, at the next meeting, interest rates may be raised. And that will be an interesting situation because we know President Trump wants interest rates to be lower. Kevin Warsh was his guy. So we see a little daylight between those two at that next Fed meeting.
And given the Elon Musk SpaceX IPO news today and how well it did, I'm going to ask Mitch Baden, what does $1 trillion look like?
I have no concept.
And could he even possibly put $1 trillion $1 bills into his bank?
Yeah.
Probably not. I think that's a number that is so big, it's really hard for us to imagine.
And we have to keep in mind that Elon Musk is a trillionaire. He formerly was a billionaire, of course, until today. But a great majority of his wealth is paper wealth. When it's the stock that he owns in his companies, the stock that he owns in this new SpaceX venture, he's extremely wealthy. He's the wealthiest person in the world. But he doesn't have $1 trillion sitting in CDs somewhere or in cash in a safe in his library. A lot of that is paper wealth, and if the stock market took a turn, you would see that wealth drop off dramatically. Not trying to hate on Elon, but you know, it's a lot of it. Most of it's paper.
Well, he's trying to make things, right? He's not a hoarder, right? Yeah. And from what I heard, Tony and Jonathan Heslop talking about this earlier, that Elon, given his massive wealth, actually lives a pretty normal lifestyle. Because he's always working. And so he basically lives in a little cabin down at SpaceX HQ down in Texas, I guess. And he's not every time you see him, he's wearing the same black pants and black T-shirt.
Just like Steve Jobs. I've read a lot of success stuff that say that a lot of successful people like that wear the same thing over and over because they want to keep their minds clear as possible for thinking up new ideas. And the last thing they want to do is go to their closet and try to figure out what I'm going to wear. That just takes up brain space. Very smart idea.
Look at Sam Walton, the creator, the founder of Walmart. Blue jeans, flannel shirts, and an old Ford F-150 pickup pretty much until the day he died. And he was one of the richest men on the planet.
If you got it, you don't need to flaunt it.
Yeah,
That's the old saying.
And these are guys, Chris, that, look, when you get to a certain point, you've made all the money you can spend in your life and for your family. It becomes more about your accomplishments and like making and creating things.
Yeah.
And that's what Elon's doing. He wants to put data centers in space. He wants to put colonies on Mars. He wants to help humankind in case we ever run into a situation like in the famous movie Interstellar, where we have to find a new planet to live on.
And a lot of these wealthy people realize, too, that the money that they have created, it should not be hoarded, that money should be used to help their fellow man, not in the liberal sense where you should be taxed to death to help other people. But J.P. Morgan, you look at all of the old school philanthropists, they always put these foundations away to give away their money. Some of them give away all their money before they die because they realize your money, you've been successful, you have all your needs met. Now you should, on your own volition, use that money to help your fellow man.
Yeah, they give a lot of their money away before their passing. Speaking of famous uber famous, ultra wealthy people and movies. Let's talk to executive producer Joey V. Joey, you've got a movie here today that I've heard just bits and pieces of that people have liked.
Yeah, we're talking Disclosure today. Disclosure Day today.
Okay, is that the name of it?
Yeah, Disclosure Day. It's about aliens and stuff. This could be Spielberg's 4th alien movie he's made, maybe 7th, depending on what you count as an alien movie. In Minority Report, they were precogs, and precogs were like people who had mutant powers. I don't know if that counts as an alien or artificial intelligence. You got like these robot type kids. I don't know, but we'll see how it ranks within Spielberg's list of alien movies.
Let me ask you this. Are you an alien space movie type of guy?
Very much, especially if they're rated R and there's blood and guts.
Blood and guts. Well, I knew that was going to come in there. Blood and guts. No tears, though.
Disclosure Day, Spielberg's latest alien movie at 5:45. How many toasted raviolis will Joey V give it? You're going to have to stand by and wait until 5:45. It'll be a fantastic segment indeed. All right, 4:21 in the afternoon, heading into a fantastic Friday weather-wise here in the Heartland. We're going to talk to Congressman Dr. Bob Onder, see if he's back here on the home front, and we'll talk to him about everything that happened that we just discussed on Capitol Hill this week and what's ahead on the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter.
Hey, Mr. Spaceman, won't you please take me along? I won't do anything wrong. Hey.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Temperatures very comfortable when you head out this evening, generally sitting in the mid-70s. I do expect it to cloud over eventually, and this will allow our temperatures to only fall into the upper 60s for most. Now, early Saturday, some scattered showers and storms are possible in the morning. These could linger into the early afternoon, but it's the later round of storms with the cold fronts that have potential to be strong or severe. Please keep an eye on that Saturday evening. With your first alert forecast, I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
Hey everyone, it's Todd Showalter with my buddy Joey V. Be sure to join me and Joey for the Right Mind Show, where we put the fun in our dysfunctional world. Saturdays at 5, right here at 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL.
Tim Jones here for Comprehensive Chiropractic. How do you find them? You find them online, chiropractic.com, and you find them right in my backyard in my hometown of Eureka. They service the region, though. I seriously want you to know that Comprehensive Chiropractic is so good. I'm not saying this. I've asked these questions. I've gotten these answers. People come from all over the region to go to Comprehensive Chiropractic because this is not just some fly-by-night, hang-out-a-shingle chiropractor's office. It is a complex. It's a beautiful facility, by the way. Dr. Fader and the gang, really proud of everything they created. It's a nice place to go. I enjoy going to Comprehensive Chiropractic because it's such a great environment there. It's very welcoming. The docs are all wonderful. I see all three of them. Because I never know which ones you are all going to go to, so I got to check them all out. And between Doctors Fader, Benton, Gorman, and the other healthcare professionals they have there, I think I've seen just about everybody. They're all excellent at their craft. They have different specialty areas and such, and that's why you should always be very specific with what you are experiencing. And don't be shy about it. I made the mistake of doing that where I had this elbow thing, and I was like, they can't do anything about this elbow thing. It's just bothering me. And they're like, why didn't you tell us about it? Of course we can work on tendinitis and things related to that with your ligaments and your tendons. And I'm telling you, this was like a year or two ago now. Completely gone, never came back. They gave me some exercises to continue to work with so that pain wouldn't come back from any kind of repetitive motion injuries, whether what I do with golf or working in the yard with wheat. I do a ton of like brush clearing all the time, chainsawing and weed eating and all that. So it's a lot of that, holding things. So whether you're a weekend warrior, whether you're an actual athlete, professional or amateur, or whether you just like to have fun in the sun, we all pick up different aches and pains in our lives, depending on when we're young, old. Sometimes we have accidents. They can take care of all that at Comprehensive Chiropractic at cchiropractic.com. They've got the studio upstairs, Pilates and yoga. They've got personal trainers. They've got holistic services to help you make sure you're putting the right supplements in your body and not just stuff that's going to do next to nothing. Comprehensive Chiropractic has all that and more. I want you to check them out online, the how to contact them, where they're located, all their different services, intake forms, what to expect is all there at cchiropractic.com. Comprehensive Chiropractic for all your comprehensive healthcare needs.
License number GL2500615.
Hey, Dad, what causes drains to clog?
Grease, hair, soap scum, and tree roots.
Tree roots?
This town has old pipes and big trees. They find each other.
They grow inside pipes?
They bust into pipes.
Whoa.
Once they're in, the water stops flowing.
Can we fix it?
The big green grasser machine can fix any clog.
Green is always grasser at grasserhomeservices.com.
Summer's here, and so is the freshest produce in town. At Anthony's Produce, we specialize in locally grown fruits and vegetables, straight from the farm to your table. Homegrown tomatoes, sweet corn, juicy cantaloupe, watermelon, and peaches, just to name a few. Plus, thousands of locally made products you won't find anywhere else. Need a fruit or vegetable tray for your next gathering? We've got you covered. Anthony's Produce on Jungerman Road or at anthonysproduce.com. Open 7 days a week.
This hour of Jones and Arps is brought to you by Stifel. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. You're listening to Tim Jones and Chris Arps.
Policy of Chicago Public Schools to forbid biological men, boys, to go into locker rooms with biologic girls.
Any student, gender identity
I take that as a yes.
Transgender women should be allowed in women's spaces.
That's a yes.
San Francisco, we follow state and federal law.
I take that as a yes as well.
Dr. Bob Onder, Congressman for Missouri's 3rd District.
We're calling Dr. Bob. We're calling Dr. Bob. Dr. Bob.
Or 27 on the Tim Jones and Chris Arp Show, and on the line with us, as he is every Friday, Dr. Bob Onder, Congressman for Missouri's 3rd District. Congressman, welcome to the show.
It's great to be back, Chris.
Sound like there was a little contentiousness in that hearing this week. It's nice to allow, a lot of times we see the Democrats, when they're questioning Republicans, they make statements instead of allowing the witnesses to answer. I'm sure you didn't do that.
Well, no, I asked some questions. I certainly didn't like the answers I received. That clip, of course, was from the House Education Committee this week. I serve on that committee. And I was asking the superintendent of Chicago Public Schools, of San Francisco Public Schools, and Loudoun County, Virginia Public Schools, whether they allow biological men and boys into girls' locker rooms and shower rooms. And basically, they all three told me yes. And you noticed the one clip. Yes, we allow gender-identified females into female public spaces. This is horrific. I don't think that these individuals should be allowed anywhere near children, much less running the entire school districts for these major metropolitan areas. And, one of the three was the superintendent of Loudoun Public Schools. Remember, that was the school district where a few years ago a girl was sexually assaulted by a boy wearing a dress in the restroom, and the school intended to do absolutely nothing about it. And when the father of the daughter came up to the school to bring her home and to bring her to the emergency room and insisted that the police be called, Loudoun Public Schools called the police, but they had him arrested rather than the rapist arrested. These people are utterly out of their minds. They have no desire to protect our children. They're complete tools for woke radical ideology.
Bob, we don't know exactly why the November 2024 election turned out the way it did for President Trump and Republicans, but we do know that there were certain big issues that were talked about throughout the entire campaign and that voters discussed before and after they went to the ballot box. Some of them were the ones that are always on voters' minds: the economy, crime, illegal immigration, and Bob, the uber woke stuff like you've just been describing was definitely on voters' minds. Bob, my question is, did any of your fellow Democratic congressmen or women, did they have any tough questions at all for the Southern Poverty Law Center? Did they get the memo from the 2024 election that Americans do not want things like boys and girls locker rooms and they're tired of the gender mutilation complex? Or did they just kind of keep on towing the party line?
Yeah, well, of course, that clip was from not the Southern Poverty Law hearing, but from the House Education hearing. Now,
yes.
The Southern Poverty Law Center, that was a good one. The CEO of the Southern Poverty Law Center was there and fielded questions. No, as you might imagine, the Democrats did not have any tough questions for Mr. Fair of the Southern Poverty Law Center. Your viewers may know SPLC because of their hate map, where they're really, I call them a defamation machine. They essentially accuse every notable conservative group that you and I could name of being, quote, hate groups or white supremacist groups. That includes, that included Charlie Kirk. It included Charlie Kirk's Turning Point USA. It includes Family Research Council. It includes immigration groups like FAIR and the Center for Immigration Studies, and it includes Alliance Defending Freedom. That's won 18 cases in front of the U.S. Supreme Court. But what brings Southern Poverty Law Center into the public eye the last few weeks is that the Justice Department has indicted Southern Poverty Law Center for donor fraud and bank fraud and money laundering. It turns out the SPLC, which claims to be fighting white supremacist groups and hate groups, it turns out they've spent $4 million to stir up the very hate that they are raising money off of, including the famous Charlottesville protest where one person even died. So the SPLC is really a disgrace. They are a fraudulent group. They defame good conservative Christian Americans. And finally, they're being exposed by our committee, the Judiciary Committee, and they are being investigated by the Justice Department.
We're speaking with 3rd District Congressman Bob Onder. Congressman, it looks like we finally may have a peace deal between the U.S. and Iran. The Iranian foreign minister has said, quote, a deal has never been closer before. The Pakistani prime minister said that a final agreement has been reached. How optimistic are you that we may have a peace deal and the Strait of Hormuz may be opening up to ship traffic?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's we're closer than we've been before. You know, we've talked about we've talked about being close before, but we're now hearing that from the Pakistanis and from the Iranian foreign minister. There's talk of a quote final agreed upon text. I hope that's the case. At this point, I don't have any details about what that is. What's in that, but yes, I mean, absolutely essential is that the Strait of Hormuz be opened, that Iran not be allowed to act as like a toll booth to that very important waterway that carries 20% of the world's oil. So I hope and pray that this is at least the beginning of the end of the Iranian conflict.
Bob, do you know or do you hope that if there is actually a deal struck, and we won't believe it until that actually happens, given the Iranians' track record, that Congress has some sort of role moving forward, either in oversight or demanding accountability, maybe with the appropriations process, if there's any sanctions involved, or things of that sort?
Yeah, I think, of course, if there's a formal treaty, the Constitution would say that treaty needs to be ratified by the United States Senate, and absolutely that the Congress has the power of the purse, and we will, almost assuredly need to pass a supplemental bill to replenish all the missiles that have been depleted in the course of the Iranian conflict. So, yes, there definitely is a role for Congress. But I think the Democrats' approach of wanting to, pass war powers resolutions and undermine the president right as he's trying to negotiate a ceasefire deal with Iran, that was misguided and something I've opposed.
Congressman, the FISA program expires at midnight tonight. We know that the Democrats were holding it up because they were upset over the interim nomination of Bill Pulte as the D&I director. A permanent D&I director was named by the president yesterday. Do you think that will be what will get this across the finish line? And I know that 19 House Democrats have voted against FISA renewal. Are there enough Republicans in the House to pass this once you all get back into session?
Yes, I ultimately think that FISA 702 will be renewed. I think quite a few Democrats would support renewal. I think the vote the other day, all the no's by the Democrats, reflected their protest over Bill Pulte as the interim director of that agency. But I think many of us, Democrats and Republicans alike, would like to see significant reforms to FISA 702, specifically the idea that if we are searching the government is searching the massive FISA database that they've accumulated, that when they're doing those searches on American citizens, that there be a warrant requirement. The other thing that I would like to see is a ban on the so-called data broker loophole, where the intelligence agencies purchase vast amounts of data from private sources, including geolocation data, on American citizens. So I think we need reforms to FISA 702. I think that's a bipartisan agreement, but I think ultimately we will see FISA 702 renewed.
Dr. Bob, Reconciliation 2.0 passed the House and the Senate. It's headed to the president's desk. It includes $70 billion of funding for immigration, customs enforcement, and CBP, which was one of the hottest topics and most contentious topics on Capitol Hill, thanks to the Democrats this year. But now that takes care of funding those agencies all the way through 2029. So that must be a big relief for all of you all not to have that leverage point out there anymore. Will there be time to consider a Reconciliation 3.0 bill, and what might the Republican priorities be for that if it is determined by leadership that you're going to move forward on something like that?
Yes, well, I certainly do hope we do have a third reconciliation bill. Because it seems these days Democrats won't work with us on anything that's good for the American people. Now, just this week, unfortunately, two senior Senate appropriators, Susan Collins and Mitch McConnell. Yes, he is still alive. Through just barely, but threw water on the idea that that there would be a third appropriation bill. On the other hand, on the House side, we are very much in favor of a third appropriation bill, as is the White House. So, as I mentioned, one item for a third reconciliation bill would be replenishing some of the armaments being expended in the Iran war, and before that, the brief conflict in Venezuela, and of course before that, for years now, the conflict in Ukraine. At the same time, we would like to see things like the Save America Act. We would like to see reforms to cut waste, fraud, and abuse. Certainly, I would like to see a defunding of Planned Parenthood and transgender mutilation procedures. So I think there are a lot of things that could go into a third reconciliation bill. But we in the House are going to need the cooperation of the senators, and that's not been forthcoming, at least not lately, or at least it's been slow and painful when we have had the Senate's cooperation on things.
Congressman, as you know, there is a aviation safety bill that is slogging its way on the Hill. One of the hookups, or one of the things that is keeping this from being completed, is a provision that would stop state tax officials from using airplane tracking data to make sure wealthy people pay taxes on their private jets. Tell us more about this hang-up, and will this bill pass?
Well, the way you just stated that is a relatively new development, Chris. But I will tell you, I'm very familiar with this provision that some of these blue city and blue state officials are complaining about, because that is my bill. We call that the Pilot and Airplane Privacy Act, also known as PAPA. It's something that the aviation community greatly supports, and the original impetus of it is that just like there are private companies that are going around the country and installing red light cameras, and then they are sending tickets to drivers, and they're taking half the money and sharing the other half with the local, the city or the county. Similarly, by the way, we banned that in St. Charles County. But similarly, there are companies doing the same thing with airport landing fees, and they're using ADS-B data, which is vital safety data, to track landing fees. Now, the problem with that is that you end up incentivizing pilots to turn off ADS-B, which can really prevent collisions. And part of the point of the ALERT Act, the underlying aviation safety bill, is to require ADS-B to prevent tragedies like the crash at Reagan National Airport in Washington, D.C. last January. So it turns out, and again, I just learned about this development, turns out like in L.A. County, they're sending out tax bills just to beat the band to various owners of private jets, and I did not know they were using ADS-B to do that. Look, there are lots of ways they can figure out where. I mean, let's face it, it's hard to hide a private jet. So there are ways. There's a program called FlightAware that's publicly available. Any of your listeners could log on to FlightAware right now and see pretty much every general aviation airplane in the United States and where it is, whether it's stationary or whether it's in the air. And certainly they can hire private services to figure these things out if someone's evading Los Angeles County personal property taxes. I think PAPA is a very important provision of the aviation safety bill. I'm hoping the Senate will take it up soon. I was also the House sponsor of Senator Cruz's Rotor Act, which failed the House just by one vote for all sorts of crazy reasons. But yeah, we need to get an aviation safety bill done this year to prevent the tragedies, and not only the tragedies that we know about because they're on the evening news, but the many near misses that happen because of things we need to change about our aviation system.
Before we let you go, Congressman, the House is on recess next week. Any big plans?
Yeah, really, we're getting, we're really less than 2 months out from my first reelection primary bid. So we'll be getting around the district, visiting various counties, some speaking engagements here and there, chambers of commerce, but really a lot of the work that I do every month when I'm back in the district.
And that's 3rd District Congressman Bob Onder. He's at onder.house.gov and on X, Bob Onder, MO. Congressman, have a great weekend, and we'll speak with you next Friday.
Thank you, Tim. Thank you, Chris.
4:45 on the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show, and I'm going to do a little commentary on this week's hearings with the heads of Act Blue and the Southern Poverty Law Center. You want to stick around for that. There was some real fireworks in that hearing. We're going to talk all about it next on the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
Made in St. Louis for St. Louis. It's News Talk STL. From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Temperatures very comfortable when you head out this evening, generally sitting in the mid-70s. I do expect it to cloud over eventually, and this will allow our temperatures to only fall into the upper 60s for most. Now, early Saturday, some scattered showers and storms are possible in the morning. These could linger into the early afternoon, but it's the later round of storms with the cold fronts that have potential to be strong or severe. Please keep an eye on that Saturday evening. With your first alert forecast, I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
On the next,
Larry Connors, USA.
The story behind the story. This date, 1966, the police Miranda warning became law.
Larry Connors, USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
Let me tell you about a place I just don't endorse. I actually go there myself. It's called the Dental Link. Dr. Link and his son Andrew, they run the practice. And I tell you right away, you can tell that it's different. It doesn't feel like one of those cold clinical offices. It feels like a place where people actually enjoy working there, and that matters when people are working on your teeth. I noticed it immediately. The staff is relaxed, they're professional, they're friendly, and that all starts with how Dr. Link treats his team. You can just tell. Now, for me, this is personal. I've had dental implants done there. That's not a small thing. That's serious dental work, and they walked me through the whole process step by step. No pressure, no confusion, just straight answers and making sure I was comfortable the entire time. And if you've been putting something like that off because you're nervous, I get it, but here's what you should know. They offer many dental implants which are less invasive, they have quicker recovery, and a lot less discomfort than the traditional route. I'll tell you this, getting my implants done was a game changer. They look natural, they feel natural, and honestly, it gave me a level of confidence back I didn't even realize I was missing. If you've been thinking about it, just go talk to them. The Dental Link is in Baldwin, right there at 141 and Manchester. You can give them a call at 636-496-8584 or check them out online at thedentallink.com, thedentallink.com. Do good, do it well, have fun doing it. That's their motto.
Remember when food tasted like home? When breakfast was made from scratch and dessert was worth saving room for? At Shorty's Diner, we're serving up down-home breakfasts, lunches, and desserts just like Mom used to make. Fresh, from scratch, every single day. Step back in time with us, where the booths are cozy, Elvis is always in the building, and every plate feels like a hug. On Lackland and Westport, or online at shortysdiners.com. Shorty's Diner. It's not fancy. It's not fat-free. It's just the way it used to be.
Hey DIY warriors, ready to transform your outdoor space? Start with Lee May Concrete Block, St. Louis's trusted family-owned manufacturer since 1947. Whether you're building a retaining wall, creating a backyard fireplace, or pouring concrete, Lee May's got you covered. From compact blocks to large cast concrete, they provide materials and professional guidance to bring your vision to life. Military and first responders get special discounts. Visit Lee May Block Showroom or LeeMayBlock.com. Lee May Block, building your dream one block at a time.
Yo, this is Vic. Vic for Vets is proudly honoring our veterans. Every Wednesday at 11:05, you'll hear about that day's honoree and their incredible service to our country.
Hi, it's Ken. You want to nominate a veteran? Send their name, service information, and story to me, Ken, at newstalkstl.com.
Brought to you by Heroes Care, Alamo Military Collectibles, Gemini Wealth Group, Michael's Funeral Home, and Freddie's Market.
Together, let's celebrate the heroes in our community. Vic for Vets, where honor meets gratitude.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness One. Wellness One is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common-sense science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on Newstalk STL. And you can visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
This hour of Jones and Arps is brought to you by Stifel. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
This is a tattoo on Maine Democrat Senate candidate Grand Plattner's chest. That's the Nazi SS death head tattoo. Do you have any opinions on that?
If it's what you say, if it's a Nazi symbol, we oppose Nazis.
Do people who aren't Nazis normally get Nazi tattoos on their chest?
I assume they don't.
You assume they don't?
Chris.
And if you don't know, now you know.
And now, Chris's Corner.
Act Blue and SPLC, what are they hiding? There's an old saying, if you've got nothing to hide, you've got nothing to fear. This week, two major organizations that have enormous influence in American politics found themselves under congressional scrutiny. And in both cases, instead of getting answers, lawmakers got stonewalled. Let's start with Act Blue. If you're not familiar with it, Act Blue is the fundraising engine of the Democratic Party. It processes billions of dollars in donations for Democratic candidates and liberal causes. But now it's under investigation over allegations that foreign money may have made its way into American elections through the platform. During a House hearing, Congressman Jim Jordan asked Act Blue CEO Regina Wallace-Jones some very simple questions. He said, "Your board chairman said Act Blue accepted up to $38 million contributions in 2024 that had signs of foreign origin. How much fraud is too much fraud?" Her answer, "On the advice of counsel, I respectfully decline to answer pursuant to my Fifth Amendment rights." Jordan then asked, "How many foreign contributions did Act Blue accept?" Again, she declined to answer. "How much money did Act Blue accept from Russia?" Same answer. "Why did your entire in-house legal team quit?" Once again, I respectfully decline to answer. Now, invoking the Fifth Amendment is a constitutional right. It's not a proof of guilt. But when the CEO of the Democratic Party's primary fundraising platform won't answer basic questions about foreign money flowing into U.S. elections, Americans have every right to demand transparency. Then there's the Southern Poverty Law Center. For decades, the SPLC has portrayed itself as America's moral authority on extremism and hate groups. It has labeled organizations, influenced corporations, and helped shape public debate by deciding who gets branded as, quote, extreme. Yet when its own CEO, Brian Fair, appeared before Congress to answer questions about Justice Department allegations that donor funds may have secretly flowed to organizations connected to the Ku Klux Klan, Aryan Nations, and even the Nationalist Socialist Party of America, lawmakers didn't get much clarity there either. Unlike the Act Blue CEO, Fair didn't plead the Fifth. Instead, he repeatedly deflected by saying the allegations would be addressed in court. Representative Wesley Hunt asked a straightforward question. Were donors informed that their contributions were allegedly funding members of the KKK? The response, essentially, that will be dealt with in court. Different words, same result, no answer. Now, it's important to remember that allegations are not convictions, and everyone is entitled to due process. The SPLC disputes the accusations, and the legal process should play out. But if you spent years representing yourself as the nation's watchdog against extremism, the public expects much more than carefully rehearsed legal talking points when serious questions arise about your own organization. What strikes me is the double standard. For years, Americans have been told that transparency is essential to protecting democracy. We've heard endless warnings about foreign interference, dark money, and threats to our institutions. Fine, conservatives can agree with that. But transparency can't only be demanded of your political opponents, it has to apply to everyone. If Republicans were accused of funneling foreign money through a fundraising platform, Democrats would demand hearings. If a conservative nonprofit were accused of secretly funding extremist groups, the media would cover it wall to wall. The same standard should apply here. Whether these investigations ultimately uncover criminal wrongdoing or simply expose serious management failures, the American people deserve answers, not silence, not deflection, and not legal gymnastics. Because confidence in our institutions depends on accountability. And when people running some of the most influential organizations in American politics refuse to answer the most basic questions, they shouldn't be surprised when the public starts asking even more. That is Chris's Corner.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, amazing how some of the biggest controversies of our time we're learning now are completely concocted.
Exactly.
Like made up and not just made up by randos, made up by the people that accuse the other people of doing what they were actually guilty of conducting.
Now, we'll give, as I said in my Chris's Corner, I'll give the SPLC chairman a little more credit than the Act Blue person. At least he will answer some questions or look stupid on stand. I mean, you look completely guilty, and as I said, you are presumed innocent until you're proven guilty in a court of law. But using the Fifth Amendment, Tim, as you know as attorney, doesn't make you look good
because it presumes that you at least have a scintilla of concern that something you say might be used against you in a future court of law, generally related to a criminal matter.
Exactly.
Now, that doesn't, as you said, that doesn't mean you're guilty. It doesn't mean you're even accused of anything. But it means you're hedging your bets so you can possibly keep yourself away from whatever you might be guilty of, plus a potential perjury charge.
And how rich is this that during the 2016 campaign, we had heard all kind of accusations that the Russians were funneling money to the Trump campaign. They had paid for a lot of things with this campaign. We heard also during the Biden administration where Hunter Biden, of course, was working for a Ukrainian gas company, and there were even allegations then that money may have been funneled not only into the Biden's personal coffers, but also into the campaign as well. But, of course, with the Democratic president and the Democratic media, those allegations didn't get very far except in the conservative media.
Mm-hmm. And think about this. If any Democrat actually believed that at all, that Trump was actually colluding with the Russians, Chris, why would you drop it, right? Yeah. He's the president again. If you really thought he was colluding with the Russians, you just forget about it and move on, and you don't bring it up every single day. No, they can't bring it up anymore because it's been completely debunked.
Exactly. At 5:07, we'll have the Speaker's stump speech.
America's still the greatest country on the planet.
Then at 5:23, we'll have a visit with Mitch Baden, CEO of Royal Banks of Missouri. We'll ask him about interest rates and how is the local St. Louis economy doing. He should know as a CEO of a St. Louis bank. You are listening to the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL, number one for live and local conservative talk.
Is your portfolio prepared for the biggest risks facing investors today? Hi, it's Tim Jones. High inflation and a rapidly changing economy may impact your investments. If you haven't made appropriate changes, your portfolio may not be positioned to address some of the biggest risks in today's economy. That means it's time to request your free portfolio review from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. You can hear their latest views on the markets and investing during On the Money, hosted by Stifel financial advisors Bob Stockdale and Eric Robert, every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on News Talk STL 101.9. They can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create a portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free portfolio review, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com, 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas & Company, Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
When you count on Connor, you're getting the timeless American values that have guided our company from day one. Hard work, impeccable service, and honesty. Connor Roofing, you aren't just getting a roof, you're getting safeguarded by a neighbor who cares. When you count on Connor, you're receiving protection for your home, your family, and your peace of mind.
Visit ConnorRoofing.com.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on the St. Louis radio airwaves for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. You can now hear Doug and Safe Money Radio 2 times every weekend on News Talk STL. But in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com. You could also reach Doug at 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233.
Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP, member FINRA and SIPC.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at News Talk STL.
News this hour from Town Hall. I'm Keith Peters in Washington. With the United States and Iran moving towards signing a new agreement to end the current war, one Republican on Capitol Hill says he wants to see the fine print before any deal is finalized. On the Salem News program this week on Capitol Hill with Tony Perkins, Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina's concerned initial reports say the agreement would allow so-called civilian enrichment of uranium to continue.
If there's any enrichment program allowed in the Trump deal, if they can enrich anywhere for any reason, that's a bad deal in my view. They will cheat after Trump leaves. So there's a lot of details to be fleshed out. But Israel's concerned, and quite frankly, I am too. I hope for a good deal. I pray for a good deal. But if it's not a good deal, I will say so.
Senator Graham's full interview will be heard when This Week on Capitol Hill is broadcast beginning at 10 a.m. Eastern Time tomorrow on the Salem News Channel. Dangerous weather is ripping through the Midwest as the weekend approaches. Correspondent Donna Warder has this report.
Aerial footage shows huge trees on top of crushed vehicles and window panes blown from tall buildings. At least 3 tornadoes ripped through communities near Chicago Thursday. Police warned residents to take cover in Maryville, Indiana, about 33 miles southeast of Chicago. When it was over, trees and power lines blocked streets. Homes were damaged, and the roof of part of a high school was ripped off. In Streator, Illinois, local TV news shows a husband and wife trapped in the rubble of their home, being rescued by police. The mayor says they're just grateful there have been no reported deaths. I'm Donna Warder.
A good day on Wall Street with the Dow up by 359 points. The Nasdaq rose 79, with the S&P 500 advancing by 37. More at townhall.com.
Joe Fallon did something smart. He saved hundreds on auto insurance switching to Progressive. With that money, he commissioned a portrait of himself. Does Joe already know what he looks like? Yes. Do guests know what he looks like? Also yes. But not as art. It's Joe's savings, and if he wants to spend it on a velvet painting of himself with a white tiger at his feet, we say, roar, Joe, roar. Switch and see if you could save with Progressive and treat yourself. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
In the military, the mission was clear. You knew what to do. Now, the mission has changed. Stepping into civilian life isn't about finding a job. It's finding your purpose.
I wanted a career that would leverage the skills and discipline I gained in the military. IT just felt right.
My Computer Career offers class schedules that fit into your life and skills in high demand. Put your VA benefits to work. Visit mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to jumpstart your IT career today. An elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefit.
From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Temperatures very comfortable when you head out this evening, generally sitting in the mid-70s. I do expect it to cloud over eventually, and this will allow our temperatures to only fall into the upper 60s for most. Now, early Saturday, some scattered showers and storms are possible in the morning. These could linger into the early afternoon, but it's the later round of storms with the cold fronts that have potential to be strong or severe. Please keep an eye on that Saturday evening. With your first alert forecast, I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Ronald Reagan once famously said, "Government is not the solution, government is the problem." When it comes to economic growth, government can be a roadblock. With red tape, regulations, and subsidies, government stifles entrepreneurship and also props up businesses that deserve to go under. Unlike government, free markets encourage risk-taking, freedom to succeed or fail. Governments shouldn't be picking winners and losers, the market should. Free markets benefit the business owner and the customer by encouraging competition. Free market enabled a young man named J.C. Hall selling picture postcards in Kansas City to turn his idea into Hallmark cards. In St. Louis, the free market made it possible for Adolphus Busch to turn his father-in-law's local beer into the world's largest brewery. A free market also means you get to send your kids to the school of your choice. Learn more about free markets at showmeinstitute.org. The Show Me Minute has been brought to you by Show Me Institute and Show Me Opportunity.
All the information I need on the drive to work.
Mike Ferguson in the morning. I keep it on throughout the day, whether it's local, national, or something big that's happening overseas.
News, analysis, and opinion.
St. Louis is #1 for conservative talk.
News Talk STL.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, "I'm from the government and I'm here to help."
The more you remove voting from Election Day, the more opportunity you're offering for people to commit fraud.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
I think the Democrats are so short-sighted in this tactic they have now to just cheat at any cost to win elections.
Nobody stands up. These people are crazy. I'm telling you, they're crazy.
What are we doing wrong here?
As a former leader in the House, I think you can put your finger on it. It's called leadership. We don't have it.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps.
What happened is that the only thing that the laptop proved, the quote-unquote laptop, hard drive, iCloud hack, whatever you want to call it, the only thing it proved is that I was a degenerate crackhead doing degenerate crackhead things.
Yeah. Chris, he's just a degenerate crackhead doing degenerate crackhead things, but put that aside and believe everything else he says, right?
Boy,
he's a wild man.
He and Jill are giving the Democratic establishment heartburn right now because I know they're like, please, Hunter, just go sit down somewhere, please. Jill's got her book out where she's blaming everybody but Joe. Hunter is on his resurrection tour going on Candace Owens' show. He also yesterday defended Graham Plattner, and I'm sure the Plattner campaign.
Oh boy!
I'm sure the Plattner campaign was like, yeah, no, thank you.
You're not helping. I am sure, Chris, that the DNC Planning Committee is hoping that the Bidens are in Tahiti come summer of 2028, right? Because you know that if Joe is still around, Dr. Jill, Hunter, they're gonna expect speaking roles at the convention, and that's probably the last thing the DNC wants to remind people of.
Tim, I think this sabotage is intentional. Look, the Democrats, Joe Biden was unceremoniously dumped from the presidency. They felt like they were abandoned, so I think that's why Jill is on this tour trying to make the Democratic establishment look bad. I think that's why Hunter Biden now has decided to go on his resurrection tour. And I also, as I said earlier this week, Joe Biden has said that he may drop his new memoir in September, a month or two before the election. So I think this is sabotage. I think they're doing it on purpose. They're trying to exact their revenge for how badly they felt they were treated by the Democratic establishment.
And the wild thing about Hunter is you don't just get like a 15-minute interview with Hunter.
Yeah.
He's the kind of guy that has been sitting down with people for like 3 hours at a time, right? And so it's just this long-winded disaster that just like feels like you're descending into Dante's infernos of hell, you know?
Yeah.
And it just gets worse and worse the more he goes on.
Yeah.
To the point where he just said, hey, I'm just a degenerate crackhead doing degenerate crackhead things, you know?
Yeah. Sabotage. You know, we always talk about politics is a rough game, and folks in politics have long memories and don't forget things, and I think the Bidens are trying to exact their revenge here.
Yep, they've Dr. Jill, I'm sure, has convinced herself that they got a raw deal, and that Joe was going to beat Donald Trump again, and that that's the reason that Trump won, because Joe wasn't in the race, and Jill's convinced herself of that. I mean, she's just as delusional as he is, apparently, these days. Well, that was Hunter Biden. Thought you'd all enjoy that. It's kind of a fun Friday clip there. Speaker stump speech in just a moment. America the Beautiful. America the Beautiful.
You going to sing for us?
I'm not going to sing. Speech? Nobody wants that. Okay. But I am going to talk about America the Beautiful, despite the fact that it gets a lot of shade thrown on it these days.
Just a couple of bars. Do a couple of bars.
Well, how should I start off with? Oh, beautiful. For sacred skies.
Very good.
I can sing a little bit.
Had a little Frank Sinatra little tone to it there.
Yeah, I can sing a little bit. My wife doesn't think I can, but I can carry a tune, I think. So.
He was doing the Ray Charles head bob.
He did have the head bob going there.
Yep. Mitch Baden. I wonder if Mitch Baden sings. He seems like a man of many talents. He's the CEO of Royal Banks of Missouri, one of our proud advertisers here on the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show and News Talk STL. We're going to talk to him about the latest inflationary numbers, the economic news, the current state of the economy, and how to support America Cancer Society's Men Wear Pink campaign. I wear pink as much as I can because I know what it symbolizes. Mm-hmm. I have a wife and 2 daughters, and they get tickled when I wear pink. So I'm like, I'm man enough to wear pink, so I got a couple pink golf shirts and stuff, and I'll break out every once in a while.
You know, pink has become cool over the last 20 or 30 years. I can remember when I was in high school. Pink
you did not wear it.
Pink was absolutely taboo, man. If you wore a pink Izod to the school, even though it had the alligator on there, you were labeled something you probably didn't want to be.
Mm-hmm. A lot of Southern gentlemen in recent years have made pink okay to wear. You gotta wear it in the right environment, in the right place. You don't wear it to a classic rock show or something, but And
I think what's helped with that also, the NFL's long-term campaign that they do in October, making for breast cancer awareness, where the players would wear pink shoes or would have pink towels and would have pink draped all over them. I think that's made it a little more manly.
Indeed. You got these 350-pound linebackers. You got a problem with me wearing pink,
exactly.
So if they can wear pink, we can all wear pink. And we all have important ladies in our lives. Mm-hmm. We all have moms, and many of us have aunts and sisters and daughters and wives, and so we do it for them. And every once in a while, guys can wear pink. So we're going to talk about wearing pink in support of the American Cancer Society's Wear Pink campaign.
I got to admit, I don't have any pink in my wardrobe currently.
I have 2 shirts, maybe, 2 golf. They're golf shirts, so I'll wear them with the right thing during the. It's a very summery color, so that's about all I have too. I think. I don't
pink
think.
Socks to go with them.
I got some guys now. I got some buddies, man. They'll break out the pink shorts, and I'm like, I don't know. I have red. I have red shorts, so that's about as wild as I get, So, all right. So we're gonna talk to Mitch Baden about all that and more, and then the moment you've all been waiting for. Joey, Disclosure Day. Joey, is that song in there? Is this like a sequel kind of a thing?
Some people will call it a bookend, where Spielberg made Close Encounters of the Third Kind in 1977, and now he is making Disclosure Day in 2026, and he's going to die if it doesn't make enough money this weekend. He's just going to kill himself because he's so upset about it.
Chris, you were onto something.
And how perfect was this to come out with a movie this year with all of the UFO disclosure and things happening? Perfect marketing.
I didn't check the credits close enough if Eric Burleson was in there as
an advisor.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have to get Eric. You know what? Eric's going to need to watch Disclosure Day, and then we'll have him on to talk about it. So they're called. Are they calling them UAPs in the movie now, Joey? Or are they still calling them UFOs?
Something like that, I think. And then most of the movie takes place in Kansas City, Missouri. So we'll
really?
have to
No
see
way.
if Patrick Tuohy has watched the movie and ask him a few questions. He was texting me the other day about movies I should review on the show. He's starting to become a producer for Joey V's movies.
Oh, that's great.
Thanks, Patrick, for being a fan.
He always listens. I know he listens to that segment after he's on with us every couple of weeks, and so he always gets into the show. So we appreciate that very much. And then we've got Larry Connors coming up at 6 p.m., taking you into the weekend. It is the weekend. Do not turn off News Talk STL. A lot of people think that radio stations, and some do this, that, after the daily live programming, it becomes infomercial radio throughout the weekend.
I hated that.
Not here at News Talk STL. I mean, we fire things off. We're right out of the gates tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. with Dr. Randy Tolber. Live. Who does that? Who does a live Saturday morning show? We do. And Doc has done that for like 20 years now. He's an institution on Saturday mornings here in St. Louis. I have a lot of the guys I play golf with, when they're driving to the course, will be like, hey, I was listening to Randy Tolber this morning. I said, thank you very much. And then we have a ton of other great programming throughout the day, throughout the weekend. It's a mixture of politics and fun and comedy and health and finance and self-improvement and the great outdoors. We do a little Jeffco St. Charles Patriot Radio, State Freedom Caucus Unfiltered, Stand and Fight. Great stuff throughout the weekends.
You know where I'm going to be tomorrow, Saturday morning?
Where are you going?
We talked about this last Friday with Derek Good. I'm going to be at the Shoot Nanny.
You're going?
Out there. I went to the very first one out there in Jefferson County. It's at the Windsor Lake Rod and Gun Club out in Peevely, Missouri. It's from 9 to 12, so I'm going to go out and shoot some guns.
That will be a lot of fun, and you have to tell me what all you shoot on Monday. And on Monday, which is my daughter Katie's birthday. Happy birthday, Katie. We'll be celebrating, I'm sure, this weekend. Vic and Ken are going to be live at the Mid-America Veterans Museum. So you're going to want to listen to that show. That is, of course, in honor of Vic for Vets. They celebrate vets every month on the Vic Porcelli Show, but they celebrate them every day during June, because June is, we got Veterans Day, you got Flag Day, you got D-Day, and so it's a month where we definitely think about our veterans, and so you're going to want to listen to that. It's going to be a very fun Vic Porcelli Show, live on location at the Mid-America Veterans Museum.
And we got to give Vic and Ken their props because they won a Missouri Broadcasters Award last weekend for their Vets program.
Yes, they did.
Segment that they did.
We actually
congratulations.
took off a bunch of hardware.
We did. We're growing.
Vic and Ken, Vic Porcelli Show. Jamie Allman, I believe. Man, where does Jamie put all the trophies? He's got
leaves them here now.
Over the years, Emmy Award winning from his TV days, and he just continues to absolutely crush it. Finally, we have some more Amendment 5 events. They're all over the state. They're almost every day. Next week, the Missouri Eagle Forum. Yeah, that's Phyllis Schlafly's group. Her daughter, Ann Schlafly, continuing the tradition, sponsoring a Scrap the Tax event next Thursday, 5 to 7. Ann will be there, along with Grover Norquist from Americans for Tax Reform. We're going to get Grover on the air with us next week. State Reps Ben Keithley from Chesterfield, Bishop Davidson, the author of Amendment 5, will all be at the Lodge of De Pere. I'm going to help moderate that. You don't need to hear from me. You're going to hear from the experts that night, Grover and Bishop and Ben and Ann. You're not going to want to miss that event. EagleForum.org or newstalkstl.com for all the events that I just mentioned. Chris, we have a very busy summer, including our birthday party coming up at the end of June.
Right. That's right.
Yes. Hey, without further ado, I want to talk about something I was inspired to talk about because I ran across a couple stories today that talked about how the grass is not always greener. You know, Grasser always talks about that. The grass is not always greener when you're talking about America versus other nations. That is the subject of today's Speaker Stump Speech. America, the beautiful.
Listen to me, listen to me.
I'm very consistent. I'm a very stable genius.
It's time for the Speaker's Stump Speech, sponsored by Hanson's Tree Service at hansonstree.com.
If I believe the polls, we would have lost every single race. This is the president who's gone to bat for the average American worker since he's been elected. Look at the record-setting investments. Look at the no tax on tips over time in Social Security. He's going to bat every single day. When Washington elitists turn their backs on the American worker, this president has gone to bat for him. And I think that as we do things like the midterm convention and explain to the American people all these wonderful things that the president has done, and you show the contrast between having somebody that believes in law and order, believes in shutting down the borders, versus the free-for-all and the liberal left-wing fanatics that they've nominated to represent their party, from Plattner in Maine to potentially El Sayed and Talafrico in Texas. These guys have given us an incredible gift. We have incredibly strong candidates, and I think that we're, like I said, I think we're moving forward. I'm very, very excited about the upcoming elections.
That was the current RNC chairman talking about the strength of America, the strength of the Republican Party, and how America is becoming great again. The GOP versus Democrats heading to the midterms. Supposed to be a very difficult year, most likely will be for the GOP, but the Democrats not helping themselves because I think one of the main problems is they're down on America these days, because Donald Trump is, it's funny, no matter what Donald Trump or Republicans do, Democrats feel like they have to do the opposite. Even when it comes to what we're celebrating this year, the 250th anniversary of the country. Now, that should be a nonpartisan affair. It should be a nonpartisan commemoration. I was only 5 years old in 1976 when we had the bicentennial, the 200-year anniversary. But I think I would have remembered if like half the country was trashing the nation at the time. I just don't think that was occurring. It sure seems to be that way now. Just because Donald Trump happens to be president during this anniversary that, he might say was divinely inspired and created, but let's be honest, it could have been anybody. Could have been anybody as president. It was always going to be the 250th year, right? There could have been a Republican in office. There could have been a Democrat in office. Could have been Donald Trump in office. Could have been somebody else entirely in office. It was always going to be this year, though. So you would think that the nation as a whole would put aside that Donald Trump is currently president, because you know what? As much as I think Donald Trump has been a great president for the United States, 10, 15, 20 years from now, people may not automatically associate that, but they will remember that we had the 250th birthday of the country. I hope the country has its 275th. I hope it has its 300th. I hope it has its 500th anniversary celebration someday. And, all of us will be looking down from heaven going, wow, that is an amazing experiment in representative democracy that has survived for a half of a millennium. Wouldn't that be awesome? Because we're still a pretty young nation when you look around the country, but how great are we? Truly great indeed. And it would be wonderful if Democrats would maybe join in celebrating some of that greatness. We've had problems. We've had warts. We've had horrible sins. But the difference between America and a lot of other nations, we always try to be better and to do better. Look at Cuba. Cuba has been under communist, Marxist reign for most of our entire lifetimes. 50 years. They don't want to get better. They're not trying to get better. They're not trying to become a freer nation. And I could make that statement about a lot of other countries around the globe. Now, thankfully, there are some nations that are moving towards more of a free market type of freedom and liberty model. Look at Argentina. I saw an amazing stat about Argentina under Javier Milei. They have erased their nation's debt. People said that would be impossible. They were halfway on the other side of the globe to China as far as their debt. Their monetary system was in a shambles. It was an absolute disaster. Are they completely out of the woods? Do they have a lot more problems? They do. But what did Milei do? He injected a little bit of American-style freedom and liberty and free market economics into their system. It's not the most perfect system, but it's the best that we know. And that is why it should be celebrated. The two stats I heard today, really troubling. We all think of the UK as a noble partner to us and as someone that we would compare ourselves to because of our rich and entangled history. And we all, I bet a lot of us think that, hey, the UK, if we were to go live in the UK tomorrow for a few years, it'd be pretty much like the US, right? It's a Western country. They've moved away from the monarchy. There's more free market there than maybe ever before. Well, some of those things might be true, but the stat I heard today was that per capita, Englishmen and women, residents of the United Kingdom, they have per capita on the whole a lower standard of living than our bottom-most poorest states. They're below them. So as bad as some folks might want to criticize America, especially some of our states that might be, on the more poor side of our aisle, you can argue that whatever poor state you want to throw out, it is the people in our poorest states are wealthier on average and richer and more prosperous than the average citizen in the United Kingdom. That's because, unfortunately, the UK, after Margaret Thatcher, experienced decades of decline. And with a couple little blips back the other way, they've really been kind of in this stagnant mess ever since. So that's kind of sad to hear that, isn't it? So the UK's great, but more great perhaps in the rearview mirror instead of looking forward. Yeah, they still got all their history. They got their beautiful castles. They got their incredible monarchy, which has been around for over 1,000 years. But are their best days behind them? I don't think we often think that in America as far as us. I know right now consumer confidence is not at its high, but we always seem to rebound, don't we? If you look at the market, which is a good barometer of American wealth and prosperity over the long term, not the short term, not the days in and the days out, but over the long term, America's always on the ascendancy. Look at our GDP growth. Look at our ingenuity. America's the nation that now has the world's first trillion-dollar man. Elon Musk, a legal immigrant who could have lived anywhere in the world, but chose to come here because of the promise that the nation inspires. Found an article today. I don't have time to read it. It's very long, but it talks about the fact that despite whatever daily problems we might have, despite whatever the media wants to try to tell you that America's best days are behind it, this piece in a publication that I'd never heard of online before, I stumbled across it. It's called National Affairs. The title is Don't Give Up on America. Let me read the first paragraph. In 3 years, America will celebrate her 250th birthday. A quarter of a millennium will have passed since the founding, a long time indeed. And in many aspects, the country is very different from what the founders could have imagined. For the better part of a century, America has been the planet's premier superpower, and it remains the most powerful and prosperous nation mankind has ever seen. The article goes on to describe how and why. It talks about the uniqueness of the American project and experiment. It talks about the dynamism of our people, all of our people, no matter where they came from, no matter what they look like, no matter if they were born into poverty or wealth, the dynamism of the American people. It talks about the resilience of the U.S. Constitution as it enters its second 250 years. It talks about the spirit of religious liberty. The article talks about a healthy style of patriotism, right? Not the downward pessimism that the left always wants to accuse us of, this horrible nationalism. And the fact that right now is not the time to give up on everything that America offers. The article wraps up by saying, as Abraham Lincoln said in a speech in 1858, America has managed to assemble people from different backgrounds with different goals under one common project. That's what sets us apart, linking the hearts of patriotic and liberty-loving men and women together. As long as the love of freedom exists, Lincoln continued, this project does not have to be over. As two Europeans who wrote this piece, who cherish this great country, we couldn't agree more. That's Christopher Bernard, who is originally, who traces his roots back to Belgium, and Kai Weiss, who grew up in Germany. Two immigrants who came to this nation that think it is truly the best nation on planet Earth. And that's the stump speech for today.
I was 10 years old in 1976 when the bicentennial happened, so I do remember it, but I wasn't following politics, of course, as closely as I do now. But I don't remember the country being as divided then as it is now, even though the Vietnam War just ended a year prior. Yeah. And a lot of the war divided a lot of Americans.
Mm-hmm. Indeed. Yep. Thank you, Chris, for that. So that's the Speaker's stump speech. Hey, got to get out of this segment because Mitch Baden's standing by to speak with us. We're going to talk SpaceX and Iran and their effect on the stock market this week, the American Cancer Society's Men Wear Pink campaign, the state of the economy, and much more. Happy to welcome Mitch Baden back to the show when Chris and I return here at 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Temperatures very comfortable when you head out this evening, generally sitting in the mid-70s. I do expect it to cloud over eventually, and this will allow our temperatures to only fall into the upper 60s for most. Now, early Saturday, some scattered showers and storms are possible in the morning. These could linger into the early afternoon, but it's the later round of storms with the cold fronts that have potential to be strong or severe. Please keep an eye on that Saturday evening. With your first alert forecast, I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world, it's comforting to know conservative values haven't been abandoned everywhere.
The far left wants to destroy conservative values in America.
This is News Talk STL. Welcome home.
CorellRoofingCo.com. CorellRoofingCo.com is where you find Corell Roofing Company, our new favorite roofing company here on the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. Curtis Corell has 20-plus years of roofing experience, and he has applied all of that, pouring heart and soul into his own company now that he's been running for several years with a ton of great people. Was out at their offices a couple weeks ago. man, they are rocking and rolling. They are super busy, and they're happy to be even busier with News Talk STL Nation Work. So please give them a call today. You can find all of their contact numbers for the region at CorrellRoofingCo.com. This is an independently owned, family-owned, locally owned company. They are not storm chasers. They're not going to take your deposit and ditch you and head out of town and you never see them again. They are going to be here for the long haul. Like I said, Curtis Correll has 2 decades of experience right here in the St. Louis region, and he's hoping for many decades more. Hopes to be able to fix your roof as well. Are you worried about wind damage, storm damage? We had another big storm that rolled through last night, hail damage. Do you even know what to look for on your roof these days with the new architectural shingles and all that? They kind of have a really good way of hiding some of that damage. So get Curtis Correll and his team up on your roof. They're going to be very honest with you, and then they're going to work with your insurance company. They're going to get the best deal for you from the insurance company because they've been dealing with them for so long, and they're going to get your job done as quick as possible. Give you that peace of mind so you can get back to just living your great life. They also do siding, and they do gutters. So if you've had any storm damage whatsoever, roofing, siding, gutters, Correll Roofing can take care of all that and so much more. 24/7, you can check them out, get their contact number, check out their service areas, which is pretty much anybody who's listening to us, and find out all that they do and more at CorrellRoofingCo.com. That's CorrellRoofingCo.com.
Hey, Jamie Allman here for my favorite go-to store for seafood, gourmet goodness, and tons of wine. It's Stars, 1135 South Big Bend. A huge selection of seafood flown in from the coast. Lemon sole, halibut, Maryland lump crab, Gulf shrimp, and you gotta try the trout dip. Plus, imported and domestic hand-cut cheeses, lots of hand-picked wines at great prices, hard-to-find gourmet foods, and fresh roasted coffee using only the best quality beans. Stars, 1135 South Big Bend, just off of Highway 40.
Hey, it's Susie Moore with a reminder that for 20 years, Harpo's Chesterfield has been the heart of West County's fun. With their award-winning patio, voted best in West County, and excellent sports bar atmosphere, Harpo's is your one-stop destination. The mouth-watering menu has made them famous throughout St. Louis. Plus, they've got great drink specials and the friendliest, most energetic staff around. Whether you're dining in or carrying out, Harpo's delivers fun, food, and drinks like no one else. Harpo's Chesterfield. Call 636-537-1970 or visit harposstl.com.
Hey, Chris Cooper here, your financial friend with Serenity Wealth Management. Tune in this Sunday right here on News Talk STL for the Serenity Wealth Now show. This week we've got special guest Katie Modulin of Magic Expeditions joining us in the studio to talk about travel tips for the upcoming summer season. It is a big question that comes up. What do you want to do when you retire? I want to travel more. Well, tune in this Sunday to learn travel tips for the upcoming season and to make sure you can travel the right way for your retirement. We'll see you on Sunday.
Investment advice offered through Fortis Capital Advisors, LLC.
Hey, Jamie Allman here for my good friend Harry Parker and the ultimate seafood dining experience at Gulf Shores, GulfShoresRestaurantandGrill.com. Gulf Shores offering a unique dining experience with a vast, mouth-watering menu of all of your favorite delicious dishes, something for everyone's taste or palate. 3 convenient locations, Edwardville, Creve Coeur, and St. Peter's. Dine in, carry out. They've got a food truck, too. Friendly staff. Looking forward to seeing you, making your dining experience one you will remember. Gulf Shores RestaurantandGrill.com.
St. Louis's place to talk.
Freedom of speech is one of the anchors of our society.
News Talk STL.
People of the earth, can you hear me? Came a voice from the sky on that magical night. And in the colors of 1,000 sunsets, they traveled to the world on a silvery light.
You're listening to Tim Jones and Chris Arps.
Stood waiting, watching as the ships came one by one.
Well, Elon Musk is now the world's first trillionaire after what might be the most ambitious launch yet for his company, SpaceX. SpaceX went public today, and anyone can invest in the company. Trading opened at $150 a share, valuing the company at more than $2 trillion. It's the largest initial public offering, or IPO, of all time. Musk rang the Nasdaq's opening bell today from the company's headquarters in Starbase, Texas.
And let me tell you, if people had told me this was going to happen
I was like, man, you must be smoking some really good crack.
Referring to Hunter Biden, maybe from earlier. Welcome back to the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. What does $1 trillion look like? Maybe our next guest can give us a sense of that. Mitch Baden, CEO of the Royal Banks of Missouri, joining us now and next. Mitch, has Elon Musk called you yet to open up an account?
No, I don't think Elon is going to be calling Missouri for an account.
Mitch, did you ever?
How are you guys tonight?
We're doing well. Mitch, did you ever think you'd see the United States, well, the world, much less the United States, have a trillionaire? I mean, Chris and I were talking about that. That's an extraordinary amount of money, isn't it?
That's a lot of zeros, boys. Our company's a little over $1 billion in size, and I thought that was a big number. You add three more digits to it, and that's one man's net worth. That's amazing.
Amazing. Mitch, inflation came in a little hot this week at 4.2%. We have a new Fed chair. I know there is a Fed meeting, open markets meeting that's coming up. The consensus is that interest rates are not going to be raised. But what do you see for the meeting after that?
It's going to be a very interesting few months. You have a situation that just doesn't happen very often, not in my lifetime anyway, where you have a new Fed chair sitting on a board with the former Fed chair sitting across the table from him. It'll be interesting because I'm not sure that those two guys are on the same page. I think there'll be some real interesting fireworks at times that may or may not get into the minutes, but there'll be certainly some very interesting conversations. 4 years ago we talked about inflation being transitory. If this war does end at any time soon, I think this is the definition of transitory inflation.
Yeah, Mitch, I was going to ask you that about that exact point that you just made. I'm curious, from all the metrics that you look at, you and the folks at Royal Banks, if the one, it's a big if, right, Mitch? It's a huge if an agreement gets signed in the near future. But let's say hypothetically that does happen in the near future. Does the economy clear up and come back fairly quickly? Are there any other problems, or is the underpinnings of the U.S. economy in pretty good shape? We just need the pressures of exacerbated oil prices,
Jim,
and inflation go away.
Tim, you hit it on the head. First of all, I don't believe the economy is in bad shape. We're seeing consumer sentiment very, very strong still. Consumer spending still strong. Now, it may be on the back of the money that people got from their tax returns from Big Beautiful Bill, but the sentiment is still strong. Delinquencies on the commercial side are not creeping up. Consumer delinquencies are, but again, we've been seeing delinquencies move for a while. But I think, we've seen the economy is extremely resilient. Most people thought the inflation numbers would really be staggering when the president put in tariffs. But people are still buying even at extended and higher prices. But most of my clients are having very nice years.
Mitch, the 30-year fixed mortgage is around 6.5%. You broke my heart last time I talked to you because you said rates probably weren't going to be coming down much lower than that. I want to ask you about something I read recently where it said that luxury home prices are rising more quickly than middle market housing. What does that tell you?
Well, it goes along with everything that, Chris, you and I have talked about many, many times, and that's the high net worth buyer rate doesn't bother them. They're going to buy what they want. because they're going to get what they can afford. And candidly, the markets are changing. I mean, demographics are changing. People are more wealthy. I mean, just look at your 401k and just look at your stock portfolios. Everybody's that's in the market is a lot wealthier than they were a year ago. So I think what's happening is, people are a little bit tired of waiting for rates to come down. It doesn't appear that they are. They have a desire to buy because they can afford it. So they're willing to do that on the hopes that after they buy the house, at some point in time, they'll be able to get a longer-term rate at a lower rate.
Speaking with Mitch Baden, CEO of Royal Banks of Missouri. Mitch, what can you tell us? What have you learned about Kevin Warsh? And everyone in South St. Louis, right, is wondering if we're saying wash right now, right? Kevin Warsh, are we going to see a different Fed, do you think? Does he have a different style? Does he have a different philosophy? What can you tell us about the new Fed chair as we head into the future with him?
Well, I candidly, everybody thinks that the Fed is going to really impact interest rates. And I was, Chris and I have talked about this. The Fed really doesn't affect long-term rates. Those are the market. Investors really take the long-term market and control that price. They really only control one thing, and that's at the window. He's when he was a governor, he was a very quiet governor. He was not controversial. He spoke very little, and I think that's what we'll see from this Fed. I think it's really important that that the Fed stay independent, but they have such an incredibly hard job that is really contradictory at times. They're supposed to control inflation and unemployment. Well, the controls for both of those things are different. When you affect one, you affect the other negatively. So I think he's got a really tough job because I think the Fed is really split on where the rates need to be. If you look at things, rates really should be talked about going higher as opposed to at the beginning of the year, most Fed futures said there were going to be 2 rate decreases at a minimum. I think rates are going to stay where they are for a while, at least until we figure out what's going on with oil prices. And let's be candid. The inflation numbers are a lot impacted by oil.
Mitch, last time we talked to you, we talked about Royal Bank's involvement with the American Cancer Society's breast awareness campaign. We want to get an update on that from you and how people can get involved. And I want to congratulate you and Royal Banks for winning the 2026 Innovation in Philanthropy. Well, I can't say that for 2-3 times. Philanthropy Award. I think I got it.
Well, thank you. We're really proud of that, Chris. I'll talk about that first. Our community support that our ownership allows us to do in all the markets that we are present in is just amazing. We're able to carry on the legacy of the founders that created our bank, and it's really gratifying to be able to impact the communities the way we are. And the program that we got the award for was a St. Louis program that we worked with several organizations in St. Louis, providing training to young people to how to duck a tuck point. They were opening accounts with us. They all have accounts now, or the majority of them. And the greatest part is when they're out of and finished with the program, those accounts are still active and they're still putting money aside so that they can grow and learn and save. It's really kind of nice. It's a win-win for everybody. And that program's run by our community affairs director, Ashley Leanertson. She does a terrific job. In terms of American Cancer Society and Men Wear Pink, Chris, it's funny you say that. I literally just got an email today. We're kicking off the program recruiting people that might want to join our our cause. And if you go out to the website for the American Cancer Society, Men Wear Pink, you can join and help us raise money that stays in St. Louis for both research and support for those people who have breast cancer. And let's remember, it's not just a woman's disease. Men get breast cancer too, and it's just as fatal for them if it goes untreated.
Well, I'm signing up today, so I got to go out and buy me some pink shirts.
Well, I'll tell you what, we wear them all October. You don't have to just you can wear a pink band. There's all kinds of good stuff that you can wear. But, it's for a great cause, Chris, and I appreciate the support. Not only the fact that you're bringing up to your listeners, but that the fact that you're involved. Because you know more than anybody, we're both cancer survivors, and we know how important support to both the person who's afflicted with cancer and their family, the support that they need is really important. And that's what this program's all about.
Mitch, thank you for everything you do at Royal Banks and in support of our station and in support of things like the American Cancer Society's Men Wear Pink campaign. It's always great and a wonderful pleasure speaking with you, and hope you have a wonderful weekend.
Thanks, Mitch.
Hey, enjoy this cooler weather. I hope it doesn't rain too much. Have a good weekend.
You too.
Indeed. RoyalBanksOfMo.com. RoyalBanksOfMo.com. That was Mitch Baden. Go check him out.
And I am going to sign up. I'm going to be a Men Wear Pink and support breast cancer awareness.
I think I'll need to do that too. Indeed. All right. The moment we've all been waiting for. When we come back, producer Joey V's Movies Disclosure Day. Steven Spielberg's latest. How many toasted raviolis out of 5 will Joey convey today? We'll find out when we come back on the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. 101.9, 94.1 News Talk, STL.
Watch us on our live stream using Rumble, Facebook, and Twitter. From the News Talk STL Weather Center.
Temperatures very comfortable when you head out this evening, generally sitting in the mid-70s. I do expect it to cloud over eventually, and this will allow our temperatures to only fall into the upper 60s for most. Now, early Saturday, some scattered showers and storms are possible in the morning. These could linger into the early afternoon, but it's the later round of storms with the cold fronts that have potential to be strong or severe. Please keep an eye on that Saturday evening. With your first alert forecast, I'm meteorologist Leah Hill.
The news and talk.
What is this all about? It's very simple. Iran can never have a nuclear weapon.
That matters to St. Louis.
The final details for a possible agreement between the United States and Iran are still being discussed.
This is 101.9 and 94.1 News Talk STL.
Well, we didn't need that forecast of more severe, strong storms here in the heartland, especially in the eastern Missouri region, but apparently we might be subjected to them. So if you have any tree damage at all following these storms, or the ones from last night, or the ones from last weekend, what are you waiting for? Call Hanson's. Hanson's St. Louis provides expert insured tree care, including green resource recycling, grinding and land clearing, and so many other services for you. Now, Hanson's has a coverage area that includes not only City of St. Louis, County of St. Louis, all the collar counties, but also the Lake of the Ozarks as well. Yes, Chad Hansen and the gang, they're happy to send their trucks down to mid-Missouri and help you clear out your lake lot. If you haven't done that yet for summer, Hanson's will be happy to take all the heavy lifting off your hands. They've got all the big boy, big girl toys and machinery and know-how for that. They also have certified arborists on staff at Hanson's that can help you save your trees, which, besides your homestead, a lot of times your trees and your plantings are some of your most expensive prized assets. It adds to that curb appeal of your homestead. They also do commercial. They do industrial. Hanson's has been around for decades, and so they are a top-notch professional shop. They're also, once again, like pretty much most of our advertisers, if not all of them here, they're locally owned. They're run by the Hansen family, family-owned, and independently owned, and they're absolutely fantastic. They've got organic mulch. You can order that online, apply for hassle-free estimates, 6 months same as cash financing, make payments, and so much more. See everything that Hanson's has, including checking out that emergency service line. It's right there at the top of the page. I hope you don't need them this weekend, but if you do, they're happy to help take care of you right away. I know that storm damage can be really demoralizing and make people really upset. I want you to know that I've used Hanson's before, and they take care of things right the first time. They clean everything up, and they take care of all the mess. They'll help you feel happy indeed. Hanson'sTree.com. That's Hanson'sTree.com.
Hey, it's Columbo reminding you that when the fish are biting, gear up with the best at Bluff City Outdoors. They have a huge selection of all the gear you need for your next trip on the water, including great products from all the top brands in the industry like Mega Bass, Mad Cats, Penn, and more. Plus, join us every Saturday at 11 a.m. on the Bluff City Outdoors show for great conversation and the local fishing report. Open 7 days a week, 1 mile east of Fast Eddie's at 2813 East Broadway in Alton. Follow them on Facebook and at BluffCityOutdoors.com.
John Beal knows that right after a hailstorm, new roofing companies start popping up everywhere. But the Small Business Administration reports 96% of them go out of business within the first 5 years. So how good is that warranty? John Beal started in the roofing business helping his granddad and his dad. Always offering the best roof, best price, best guarantee. John Beal Roofing, not some fly-by-the-night operation. Call my friend John, 1-800-NEW-ROOF, 1-800-NEW-ROOF.
You're listening to Tim Jones and Chris Arps.
What did you steal?
Secrets.
Are they people?
No.
What are you gonna do?
Full disclosure to the whole world.
That truth will upend all established order across the entire world. If you do this, there's no undoing it.
And that is the movie for the movie Disclosure Day. It's Steven Spielberg's latest alien movie. How many toasted ravs out of 5 will Joey give it?
Joey, baby, what movie are you playing?
Brought to you by Harry J's Steakhouse, Freddy's Market, AAA Motor Speedway, and Best Buy Flooring.
Disclosure Day is about a shadowy government agency chasing a whistleblower across the Midwest in order to stop him from releasing files to the public that prove aliens exist. And Disclosure Day is directed by Steven Spielberg, who is 79, and scored by longtime collaborator John Williams, who is 94, which means you got to see this movie. I mean, you owe it to these legends. They've worked together 30 times, and they're going to die soon. So if you could just please go see this, no matter what I think. And John Williams, he is actually the second most nominated person in Oscar history. 54 nominations for him. He's second behind Walt Disney, who's got 59. Do either of you have a Spielberg memory that pops to mind? It's okay if you don't have one, but I have one that I could share with you if you can't think of one.
He's had so many movies, I don't think one pops out for me.
I always think of E.T.
Okay, well,
I was thinking that, Tim. I really was.
My favorite
I know
Spielberg...
he's done a million movies, but I always think Spielberg, E.T. You know?
Well, my favorite Spielberg memory ever is I went to Lake of the Ozarks with my family, and we set up a giant 10x10 white tent with the big white backdrop on it, and we got a projector, and we put it out on the dock, and we watched Jaws on the dock at Lake of the Ozarks.
Eat s'mores?
No, we didn't eat s'mores.
Oh,
You can't
okay.
have fire around this sort of flammable material like that. And we had a wonderful time watching Jaws on the water. I recommend if anyone can do that, try and do that somehow. You can rent a projector from the library if you need to. Now, Spielberg, he's got a long history of making alien movies. This could be considered, I don't know, maybe his fifth. We've got Close Encounters of the Third Kind,
Yes.
E.T., War of the Worlds, Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull. And I'm going to throw in The Terminal because Tom Hanks plays an Eastern European illegal alien who's sucking off the teat of an American airport while he lives there undetected. And then, you know, you can debate whether they're aliens in Minority Report. I would say most don't consider it an alien movie. Disclosure Day, it kind of seems derivative because it's playing off of all of those alien stereotypes that we're used to. You've got the crop circles, you've got the gray men, you've got the Roswell. But I would argue that Spielberg actually popularized that stuff. So if anything, he's just ripping off himself. So I give him a pass on that. I do not mind it. I'm actually not even a fan of Close Encounters. Chris hasn't seen it.
Never seen it.
It's like 2 hours of Richard Dreyfuss making sculptures with mashed potatoes, and then some shoddy-looking aliens show up at the end. That's
the
about
song
it.
was a hit in '77.
It's 5 notes, five important notes.
You know what I compare that series to, Joey? That series on TV, the miniseries on TV, Lost. You're just like with Close Encounters and the series Lost. You're waiting the entire time for something to happen, and nothing ever really happens.
Yeah, things are just weird for no reason. Mailboxes shake, and you go, is that it? And then the aliens pop up.
Right.
Now, the script in Disclosure Day, I'd say it's a little clunky, but I was still enthralled with the mystery and how it was unfolding. I didn't mind the clunkiness. And Spielberg, he came up with the story, but didn't write the script himself. So you could argue that maybe this writer, David Koepp, he's the culprit if you have any problems with the script. And the actors, though, they're the ones that elevate this from being just some sort of streaming Netflix type thing. I mean, you've got Emily Blunt, Josh O'Connor, Coleman Domingo, Wyatt Russell. I guarantee you Emily Blunt will get nominated for her performance. She's kind of playing two roles at once. She's a weather woman in Kansas City, Missouri. And it's so great to see Missouri represented
Even though they didn't film it here, probably.
There's some scenes, some establishing shots. I'm sure they just faked it all in Atlanta or something. And then John Williams, he's 94. The Academy loves him, so the score will get nominated as well. Colin Firth is in this. He's the King's Speech guy, and he has maybe some questionable acting in this, but it's because he's playing a bad guy. And you never see him play a bad guy in anything. He's the head of this shadowy government. And so I also give him a pass because we both went to Hazelwood West. He went there for a year in like 1972 when his dad was teaching at Flow Valley Community College. And reports are that he was bullied pretty bad when he was living here in St. Louis. So probably when they were filming those scenes in Missouri, the anger of being back in this awful state must have led him to do this big, mean role that he does in this movie. And he's got like a werewolf beard, like our good friend. What's it? Who's the big werewolf guy? Rubio?
Hugh Jackman?
No.
That's what I was thinking.
No, the congressman guy. Oh, man, I just lost it.
Mark, the new Homeland Security guy?
I'll look him up here.
Okay.
Ted Cruz. All right.
Ted Cruz. Okay.
Ted Cruz is Eddie Munster.
Yeah, he grew out the werewolf beard, and he looks scarier. So it's like Colin Firth looks exactly like Ted Cruz, so it makes sense for him to be hunting down these aliens. The chase scenes in Disclosure Day are some of Spielberg's best. He's really known for some incredible chase scenes if you're familiar with his early movies like Duel. Duel is just a 2-hour-long chase scene, and then the Sugarland Express with Goldie Hawn, another one where it's just a chase scene the entire time. So you know that he knows how to do these action scenes. It's a $115 million budget for Disclosure Day. I hope it makes that money back. I still would have thrown another $80 million at it for practical effects. Some of the CGI looks a little questionable, and whenever you go and look at Project Hail Mary, which came out this year, that was all practical effects in space. So I kind of like that look a little better than this one. But, if you know the plot that these aliens are pretending to be CGI animals, you're like, all right, maybe their alien technology isn't advanced as our own technology.
They could fly here, but they couldn't make themselves look in the skies.
Like, why does that fox look a little wonky on the side there? And it's 2 hours and 20 minutes long.
Oh, too long.
It wasn't a problem for me. I was always invested the whole time. So I give it 4 out of 5 toasted raviolis. You definitely have to see Disclosure Day, and you tell me if you hated it, but I highly recommend it.
I have one question. Indiana Jones was an alien movie?
The fourth one, with the Kingdom of the Crystal Skull.
That was like, wait a minute, Indiana Jones, aliens, wait a minute, what did I miss here?
It was out the outer space, the skull.
Yeah, it was based around Roswell. Yeah, people didn't really
I missed that one.
Like that one. It's actually been rejected by most Indiana Jones fans.
Spielberg has such a catalog that you forget some movies are Spielberg movies, And I was looking through a list of his movies, and like Schindler's List, and the newest Lincoln movie with Daniel Day. I forgot that was Spielberg. That's one of my favorite movies that he's done.
Yeah, another collaboration with John Williams. John Williams won an Oscar for doing Lincoln and Schindler's List, and
You think they had a lot of Missouri because Steven Spielberg's wife went to Hazelwood Central and this director went to Hazelwood West and Kansas City? Is there some connection there somehow?
I think it's because crazy stuff happens here in flyover country. People don't know what's going on in the middle of America.
That is Joey V's review for Disclosure Day. That's Steven Spielberg's latest movie. Joey gives it 4 out of 5. Sounds like it'll be a great weekend to go see the movies, and this may be one you want to see, even though it's 2.5 hours. All right. Larry Connor's USA is up next. The story behind the story. Miranda writes, you have it listening to the Tim Jones and Chris Arps show on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL. Drive safe and have a great weekend.
Hungry for the best steak you'll ever have? Head to the heart of Moscow Mills and discover Harry J's, a local landmark and family-owned steakhouse, serving up excellence since '98. From mouth-watering appetizers to decadent desserts, Harry J's has something for everyone. Enjoy our extensive bar selection while soaking in